Joining us now, senior U.S. Senator, Democrat from Virginia, Mark Warner. Senator, sir, great to have you.
Well, thank you, John, although I'm a little worried now that you're the Godzilla of truth. I'm going to feel like I'm one of those little guys that you're going to breathe fire on. I'm going to disappear like in one of those movies.
Well, I tell you, you just keep winning elections, so I'm not sure about that. And by the way, my predictions, Senator, are they're just world renowned. I mean, I'm 99% almost right down the line, and I'm predicting that we're going to have a Clinton-Warner ticket. I think you're going to be the VP pick for Hillary Clinton. I'm predicting it right now on the air. I can feel it. Clinton-Warner, what do you think?
Well, I think my job's in the U.S. Senate, and I think that, a lot of my positions, frankly, I get a little concerned when both political parties go to the extremes. I might be involved if there was a creation of the Rational Party, the Get Things Done Party. Now, that might be more where I sit, but time will tell.
See, that's why you'd be the perfect vice presidential pick for Hillary Clinton. Plus, you would carry Virginia. I mean, it's really, they should take my advice. It's brilliant, I think. Clinton Warner, I'm saying it right here. When it happens, just be sure and call me up and say, John, you predicted it.
Let's go through some issues where I'll probably disagree with her. So you may want to make sure you get that on the air, too.
All right. Now, let's go right to the debt ceiling increase deal that's on the table. Kumbaya. Republicans seem happy with it. $80 billion in increased spending. No deficit reduction that I can find. You know what I miss? I miss the Gang of Six, where you guys actually got together and met and tried to solve the debt. Now that's even abandoned. So Republicans are now celebrating another $80 billion increase. How do you stand on it?
Well, one, just like everybody else, I've seen none of the details, and I'm glad we're not going to default on our credit rating, and that bill that was passed in the House, the prioritization bill, I thought was just wildly irresponsible. Not only what it said, we're going to pay Social Security, but we're not going to pay Medicare hospitals. It would have also defaulted every state and locality in the country because 30 to 50% of their budgets are passed through. So it was just kind of blew my mind. This particular deal, I think, still uses some of these phony accounts like OCO.
Right.
To fund the military. I think, let's have some truth in budgeting. I'm reserving judgment, frankly, till I hear the details. I actually heard some report that said there was deficit reduction in it, but again, I've seen no details. And one of the things I worry about, I think all of us in the Congress who were not in the room, and that was virtually everybody. There were 4 members of Congress and the White House. This isn't the way we ought to operate. We ought to debate these things full-fledged on the floor, let people have a chance to amend. I don't often agree with the Freedom Caucus, but in this case, I tend to agree with them. Why don't we all get our say on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. Everybody should be weighing in on it. And when you look at how what the Republicans came out with, how they said they're going to not spend the $80 billion or save it, it's just more accounting tricks. I mean, it's ridiculous, and there's no real plan to get this debt down, as far as I can see. So,
John, let me just two quick factoids here for your listeners who believe in the Grover Norquist squeeze the beast. I actually think and I don't agree with that, but that crowd has won. Domestic discretionary spending is on the path, not from the Obama numbers, but from the Bush numbers of 2007 to be cut in half. Now, I don't think that's smart to cut education, road building, research in half, but that's what we're on the path to. Our domestic defense spending is way too low compared to the circumstances of the wars we're in. 3/4 of the budget, and this, they are entitlements, mandatory programs, and debt. Until we take on the entitlement programs and until we deal with our tax code, and listen to this. I hope your audience will listen to this, and this is just plain facts. Out of the 34 industrial countries in the world, America is 32nd in total tax rate. We are a low tax regime compared to the rest of the world. We got the world's worst tax code, yet we collect the least revenues. So we got a messed up system here.
How do you fix it?
Well, I think, one, you got to be willing to tell the truth about entitlements and say Medicare, Social Security, great programs, but they're not sustainable. I think there was what I've read, some reform in Social Security disability, so you start to get rid of some of the program screwiness. But we're also going to have to deal with things like, for people like me, who've done well, higher copays on Medicare, little means testing. I do think for folks, pick your age, under 40, under 35, you're going to have to talk about raising the age limit. You're going to have to really do some things I think the American people are willing to do if they feel like everybody's going to get included, nobody's going to get carved out.
And it's a transparent system. Remember when Social Security was facing insolvency, President Reagan and Tip O'Neill sat down, they met, they hashed it out, everybody knew exactly what was going on, and they came up with a deal that everybody was comfortable with. And, the best deal is a deal that everybody hates, right? Because then they didn't get everything.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
Everybody should hate
100%
it.
Right.
Right?
100% right.
I know.
100% right.
So,
and this is, the alternative, though. Here's what, again, I think frustrates your listeners, frustrates me at the, different part of the political spectrum, is that, we knew this was coming. Before the August recess, we were saying, hey, let's start negotiations now. These quiet little negotiations that pop up, in the waning days when, in effect, the country's got a gun to its head because, the last thing in the world we need is a default next week. And then a small group of folks get in the room and cut something. I'm reserving judgment till I see the details.
Okay, that's fair enough. And you've certainly been a leader since you work with my friend Saxby Shamliss on the Gang of Six, really trying to solve this.
I still get grief from Democrats on change CPI and talking about entitlements and Medicare. So, I got my scars to prove it.
No question. Let's get to last night. We understood the president may make a decision to deploy additional U.S. troops near Iraq, near the border of Syria. This thing's just going on. Now we're going to get redeployed in there. We're fixated with removing President Assad. I've been complaining about this forever. Now we're going to send additional troops into this mess. Why not just get out of the way and let Putin deal with it?
John, I sit on the Intelligence Committee, and we have been begging the administration for months to say, all right, come in and tell us your plan. I wish that I'd heard a plan from the administration, or I wish, for that matter, John McCain and Lindsey Graham, more defense hawks. I wish I'd heard a rational plan from them. We could go back years. I actually believe that some of this would have been prevented if the president would have actually fired those missiles. They drew the red line against Assad, when they found chemical weapons. But you can't replay what happened 4 years ago. I do think, I don't think we're talking about American troops being deployed, but shoring up those forces, those Syrian forces that we have been supporting now for years, that are fighting both Assad and ISIL, is in our national interest. But, where is the game plan? Are the moderate forces really going to be the ones that win when you've got Assad backed by Russia, and when you've got ISIL, who, let's face it, fights better than their numbers because they're willing to do horrific things, barbaric things that are just unspeakable. I don't know, though, in a region that we can simply walk away. I think many people would argue the fact that we walked out of Iraq without enough kind of remaining forces may have led to some of the disintegration in Iraq. I think that's an open question. While I'm not happy with what's going on, I don't have a better plan. And what I don't think we can do is simply say to this terribly unstable region, okay, have at it, Assad, ISIL, and frankly, the people that we've been helping, we're going to suddenly leave you in the lurch.
But I think committing more troops.
But I'm not sure. But you got every right to criticize that answer because it's kind of what you're getting from both Democrats and Republicans, but it's not a very satisfying answer.
No, it isn't. And I think at least we should go with Senator Kane's plan and get authorization of military force where the president has to come to Congress. And, what's driving me bananas are the Republicans are blocking it. And how does that make any sense? It's insane.
Well, what's happened is, and, you got to give my colleague and friend Tim Kaine credit because a year ago he said, let's go ahead and reauthorize force in Iraq, in that region. And, I think there's a lot of the great thing about this current circumstance is we don't have to set the parameters, and then on Sunday morning talk shows, senators get to criticize the president. But we've not had the courage to say, hey, let's vote on what our resolution would be. I would strongly support, a further deployment in the region, not military troops on the ground, but further deployment. And I put my name on it, but there's not been a bill on the floor of the Senate to have us say yes or no.
I think that's the real issue. We're with Virginia U.S. Senator Mark Warner. We've only got a couple of more minutes.
Yeah, I've got one more minute because I got to get one more show in, John. But if you've got anything else,
yes, VA Accountability Act. Virginia, highest percentage of veterans. Everybody's upset about what's happening with the VA. Why wouldn't you be in favor of the VA Accountability Act?
Well, John, I want to look at the details of this. When we did the veterans bill a year or so ago, put $17 billion more in. We gave, for the first time possible, the ability then for VA people to fire people. And I've been down, especially at Hampton. I've been to Hampton 3 or 4 times. We brought in a SWAT team from other areas because I was really disappointed down there. Michael Dumpty, the director, has said they have fired people. And we have seen wait times improve, but it is taking constant pressure. It's taken outside VA people coming in. McGuire in Richmond was a little better. Salem has been a little better. But, I've been on these 3 facilities in Virginia, and I think there's improvement. I'm not sure. I'm not going to BS you. I want to look at this VA Accountability Act. If there's a need for more ability to fire, I'll take a good hard look at it, but I know that they've already got that ability that was put in that last VA bill.
All right, Senator, we're out of time. Remember, I'm the first person in media that predicted you were going to be Hillary Clinton's vice presidential choice. So when that happens, be sure you do my show before anybody else, right?
I'm just thinking about you as Godzilla.
Thank you. We want to thank Senator Mark Warner for being with us.
John.
Thanks for being with us, Senator.